Katie, I didn't.
I know she's doing it, yeah.
She was moving crates yesterday.
And this is the very last crate. If I remember that. Yeah. This is a suit of armor of a jouster from the mid-1500s, which is what you're going to see. Or at least it was a suit of armor made for jousting in about 1550.
It's just bringing it over maybe against the wall. There he is.
Can you say anything about that, Linda?
Well, I can tell you a couple of things that are interesting to know. This piece here would have been what was used to sort of, correct me if I'm wrong, Ricardo, but it's where would have been the rest for his lance, so that he didn't have to hold it all the time. It would help him support it as he got ready to charge towards the other jouster. This piece is, you can see the difference between the two shoulder flanges. This was a piece that usually was specially made that they could add on to their suit of armor for when they were jousting, because it helped deflect the blow. Okay, so the point of jousting at this point in time was not really to kill your adversary, but to knock them off of the horse. So you tried to protect yourself, one, from getting your shoulder hurt, but also from getting knocked off your horse. That was the point of the game. And I mean, a lot of the other are pretty much joust suits of armor were off, for jousting were often made. There was a basic suit of armor, and then extra pieces were made called pieces of exchange that they could add on to it for extra protection. So kind of the classical visor they would use, they had these sort of levers that lifted it up. So anyway, if anyone has any more specific question, I'm not sure I could answer that, but that's about as far as I can go about it. I mean, it's very beautiful, well-made, and particularly well decorated. A lot of this kind of decoration was done with a process known as engraving. It was a kind of engraving called aquaforte. It's like strong water, but it was actually done through a chemical process that created the engraving on metal.
When was this done, Linda?
Around 1550.
Do we know for whom the piece was commissioned?
Precisely, no. No, I mean, it wasn't, that kind of documentation about this particular suit of armor doesn't exist. It was, at that point, jousting was kind of ceremonial, part of parade armor, that kind of stuff, so could have been. I believe the manufacturer was around Milan.
Yeah.
So it's Italian manufacturer, which in Italy, around in the area of Italy known that is Milan or Lombardy, was one of the best and better areas for the manufacture of armor in Europe at this time, along with Germany. So those were kind of two of the main centers of high quality manufacture of armor.
How long would it take to create a suit of armor like that? It custom fitted to someone, and how long does the process take?
I mean, it's hard to tell the exact time needed for building up everything. It depended on the manufacturer. You have to understand they have big shops and big laboratory where many people worked inside, and if this laboratory was small, it may took some months to make a complete suit of armor. More elaborated workshop could take less time because many people working together, so it's not easy to say how much time did it take for this armor.
What's the material made of?
It's steel.
Oh, is it titanium or real?
In this case, this is the heaviest armor that we are presenting in our exhibition because it's made for jousting. Usually an armor intended for war was no more than 40 pounds in weight. This kind of armor may go to 70 or more.
So everyone is welcome to get a little closer and get some closer pictures, take some pictures with him. Just please, no touching or bumping into the crate, but otherwise you're welcome to come take a close look.
We also talk about this piece right here at the exhibit itself. Just in case you want to know what that is.
Sure. Either one of you would like to talk about the next one? I'll let Ricardo tell you about this piece. It's a very interesting piece, and it's kind of a signature piece from the Stibbert Museum, because it was actually creation and invention of Frederick Stibbert, the 18th century collector, 19th century collector himself, who created this, and founder of the museum.
Well, this item doesn't usually exist in our museum because this still life was created just to take a picture of this, to shot a picture. When Stibbert decided to do this in the 1862, he put together all these pieces that are from different periods, different countries. He used 19th century replicas, like the helmet, for example, old pieces like the breastplate or the sword, and he put everything together to create. He used a real skull in that case. And he wanted to create a romantic image of what was the arms and armor and the world of knights, and he entitled he wanted to show with these pieces how the life ends quickly, but the glory gained through the arms and armor can live forever. So this is a very romantic idea. It was very typical of the late 19th century. So we decided to recreate this still life to end the exhibition.
Ricardo, can you tell us anything about the sword?
The sword is not a normal sword. This is just a sword. If you look at the tip, you will notice that it's rounded, no point, because it was just used to cut and for death penalties. And this is a sword intended for this, so no tip needed.
Executioner's sword.
Yeah. And
Sword
on
of justice.
in the blade, there is an inscription that reads, if you do right, you have not to fear me.
Any other questions for Ricardo? Well, take all the pictures you want. Thank you.
Thank you.